Hello there, I'm Scotty, you're not. Welcome back to March of the Living Dead 3. And today we're looking at Resident Evil Apocalypse. I don't know why I said it like that, but the sequel to 2002's Resident Evil. This one not directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, but he wrote it, and it is directed by Alexander Witt. Yes. And it picks up after the events of the previous film. I guess takes a while for Alice to show up. Like we get this thing which is like, my name is Alice and this and happened, and so it tells us what happened, but is this really broadcast or is it just to catch the audience up? Right? I don't know. But yeah. So Bretlaw wants to sneak back into the hive to find out what happened. Isn't that why you sent the team in the last one? Eh? By the way, you still got Matt somewhere, right? He can tell you what happened. He's still technically alive. You find out later. But no, and we actually meet some characters from the games. Carlos Oliveira from... Jeez, I don't know which one he's in. Let's see. Carlos Oliveira is from Resident Evil 3. What the hell is Under the Skin? Okay. The Umbrella Chronicles, Operation Raccoon City, and the remake. Duh. Here he's played by Oded Fair, who is Israeli, but Carlos is obviously Spanish. Nail that casting, didn't you? And of course, there's Jill Valentine, who was from the original game in Resident Evil 3, and she's wearing her outfit from Resident Evil 3, which... Okay, you're going to find out that the extent of the knowledge of the Resident Evil characters is, hey, let's just make them look like they do in the game, and then just go with nothing. Because she just wears this. It's very unpractical, especially for what she's doing, but hey, she wore it in the game! So... yeah. And Carlos is not alone. He has his partner Nikolai, who was an original character. I don't know. We also have our comic relief. And everyone's biggest problem with this movie, LJ, played by Mike Epps. However, I like Mike Epps. I love Mike Epps. He's funny as hell. I like him in the Friday movies. All I want Santa Claus is 2 fat bitches and 2 cheeseburgers to feed to the fat bitches. LJ, wake your ass up. You pee on me? What's his name? Dede! Dede! Wake your ass up. I call him LJ. Dede, wake your ass up. You pee on me? And, you know, he was finding hangover movies. You know, and I think he was finding the Uncle Buck reboot. They did. Do you remember that? It didn't last long, but I thought it was fine. I had the first episode on my Fandango. But, yeah. But everybody has a gripe with him, apparently. I did find myself laughing at some of his jokes. Just the way it is. Nikolai is played by Zach Ward, by the way, the bully from A Christmas Story. And I was right. Ian Glenn plays Dr. Alexander Isaacs for about 5 minutes of this movie. He's barely in this movie. He's there. Jared Harris plays Dr. Ashford, who sends Alice after her daughter. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. In the games, there were twins, the Ashford twins, not just a daughter. If I remember that correctly. So anyways, yeah. And after we get this pretty cool scene of Jill taking out zombies in the police station, because she's a disgraced Stars member in this one, and she frees LJ and tells him to get the hell out of town. Tells everyone to get out of town, because they opened the hive and it released the T-virus. They're fucking stupid. And then we get naked Mila Jovovich. That's three. And there's only been 2 movies. But 3. Yeah. Because she was sleepy, and then they pushed the button, and they woke her up, and then it's Dr. Ashford who says, hey, I want you to rescue my daughter. And so she does that. And she ends up getting Jill and Carlos and the others to help her. Yeah. Also, there's this guy named Wells who gets bit. He's basically Rain from the last one. He's bit until it's time for him to turn. Yeah. Also, Carlos shows up a bit later too and said he had been bit 3 hours earlier. Remember what I said in the last one about the amount of time it takes to turn depending on how important it is to the plot? Because, like, I don't think it takes that long for Wells to start turning. But they're like, shoot him. He's like, no. It's fine. You want to do it now before, but not later. And he turns. There's also a news reporter named Terry Morales. And Alice saves them because, as you're going to find out in this franchise, as to my knowledge, any and all game characters must bow down to the might of the almighty Alice. Because her husband said so. That's what it is. This franchise, or every movie he makes now, it seems, I'm just going to kiss my wife's ass. He's British, you know. Like, every time we say a new movie from Paul W. Sanderson, I automatically go, oh, is his wife in it? Sorry, Mila Jovovich. Yeah, okay. Seems about right. They did Monster Hunter. I heard that one wasn't faithful either. It's so hard to get a faithful adaptation of something. When the most faithful adaptation of something is Super Mario Brothers, that still wasn't all that faithful because you can't have a damsel in distress anymore. I mean, it was fucking Luigi. Princess can't be rescued by a man anymore. Snow White said so, but it came out after that. But anyway, Snow White came out after. I don't know, but and I'll give it to you. You get zombie stuff earlier in this one because there's no need to build up to it when you already know what it is. And there's a bit of a time stamp on this, or time crunch, because they're gonna blow the city up, so they have to get Angela and get out of there. And there's a scene where somebody yells, "Angela!" And I had flashbacks to Return to Sleepaway Camp. Angela! I yelled that out. Yeah. But they're ambushed by Nemesis, who was foretold in the last one. So it should be painfully obvious who this is, but they take forever to reveal it. Like, I thought they were going to reveal it right away, but Mila Jovovich, and I'm not going to, her name is Alice, but whatever, doesn't get it. I'm like, why isn't she talking to him as if he's mad? We're really supposed to believe she doesn't know, despite the fact that she was right there when they said, and I quote, "Take him to the Nemesis program." She was right there. She was right there. But yeah, and when they find Angela, she has the antivirus, which, if I remind you, didn't work in the last one. But they inject it into Carlos, and he's just fine. So this is the real antivirus, and the stuff in the first one was bullshit. I guess. Yeah. They also explained that because Alice is enhanced by the T virus, she can now sense when someone is infected, which is how she knows that Carlos is infected. Because he just walks up, she goes, "How long have you been infected?" And he's like, 3 hours. I'm like, how did you know? Well, she has the T virus too. Apparently, well, no, she says it to Angela, who's infected, I think. But and this. So apparently, Angela had a disease where she was bound to a wheelchair, and Dr. Ashford created the T virus to help her walk. I guess. There's also a scene where the dead rise from graves, and while it's a pretty cool looking scene, it makes no fucking sense because they're already dead. They're not breathing the infected air. There's no way for them to be infected because they're already dead. So it's not like those who died in the beginning or the people who die here. We do get a nod to Resident Evil 2 with the truck driver. With a little nod, but yeah. Because we don't get Claire to the next one. We don't get Chris to the fourth one. Yeah. But, yeah. And so, yeah, she is strong enough to fight off Nemesis somehow because of her, oh my god, super duper T-virus powers, which will be undefined throughout this franchise, I'm sure. That she just has powers and that's it, because her husband said so. Yes. Dr. Ashford tells him, hey, you gotta go to this helicopter, take him away. Dr. Ashford also gets killed. Dr. Kane, who is the Broadcast is the main human villain of this, kills Dr. Ashford. And he becomes the zombie and he eats Kane later. But it's funny, we'll get to it. She fights Nemesis and subdues him, but then when she sees his tattoo, she realizes it is Matt. Somehow, and refuses to fight him, I guess. Somehow she's able to convince him to turn on Kane and attack the Umbrella troops, but is killed, protecting Alice. Because that's how it works, right? Because you could just kill Nemesis with regular guns. Or is that how it happens? I don't know. I watched the movie, and I remember how he dies for some reason. I laughed at this, though, because, like, Kane is in the helicopter, and she grabs him. She goes to push him out. He goes, "You're not going to kill me." And he pushes her out, and I'm reminded of Batman Begins. I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. And that's exactly what it is. They're like 2 feet from the fucking roof. So he throws her down, and he's immediately attacked by zombies, including a crawling Dr. Ashford, who eats him and he dies. Yeah. They get away somehow as the nuclear bomb detonates. But the helicopter crashes. So I guess it wasn't, yeah. I guess they don't get away. Alice sacrifices herself, because of course she does, to save Angela and is impaled on a metal pole. And then the fucking TV footage just says All the heroes in this movie are responsible. It's their fault. Blah blah. Carlos Oliveira and Jill Valentine, they're the ones responsible, and they connected to the TV reporter lady, and it's all their fault. Blah 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 blah. Umbrella is trying to help you. Blah 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 blah. Don't believe the lies. Yeah. And they show Alice's dead body, and then she wakes naked Mila Jovovich again. Waking up, that's 4 in 2 movies. She wakes up and she ends up leaving. She's rescued by Carlos, Jill, LJ, and Angela. Oh, one of these made me laugh is when they find out that Carlos was bit. He's like, man, why the fuck didn't you tell me? But hanging with you and shit. So now she has more powers that are unexplained. And she got like a little Dr. Isaacs hacks in and activates her. And this is all part of a plan that, to my knowledge, doesn't get picked up at all in the next one. Because the next one starts as everything is a wasteland. Which is also ignored in subsequent sequels. You know, Paul W.S. Anderson once said that after not coming back for Mortal Kombat Annihilation, that he would stay with his next franchise through the whole thing so the continuity would work better and it wouldn't get messed up. 2 movies in and I'm already learning that's bullshit. But I will say this movie is pretty decent. I'll give it a low pretty good. So far it's solid. I don't know when they petered out. From I remember before it wasn't bad. From what I hear, the last 2 are the worst 2. Right? Especially like everyone hated Final Chapter, right? And by the way, to those who say, oh, Resident Evil, the Final Chapter, another movie that's not the Final Chapter, well, yeah, it is, because the next Resident Evil movie was a remake. So technically it is the final chapter of that story. So you can't use that trope here, because it is the final chapter of the story we were telling. Kinda. I don't know. But, yeah. So, what are your thoughts on Resident Evil Apocalypse? And we'll come so much like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.